Hello again, guys. Tonight we are going to be going over flying the Razorbill at night. So, at nights, it can be a lot more dangerous to fly the Razorbill because it's more difficult to see where the ground is, and also when you're trying to hide from players, the flashing strobe light on your Razorbill is a lot more noticeable. So we'll begin with straight level flight. Essentially what we're going to do is pick a heading. Now, with this Razorbill, I want to fly on a heading of 360 or 0 degrees to reach Elwood and destroy everything at Elwood. So the first thing we're going to do is go into the vehicle, click R to take manual control, and we're going to rotate to our desired heading, 360 or north, go full power, and tilt forward, keeping our compass aligned with our heading, and watching our altitude to make sure we remain at what we initially started at, which was 400 meters. Now, waves in this game, in the deepest parts of the ocean, can reach up to 100 meters of altitude. So when you're flying at night, it's very important that if you don't want to crash into waves, you try to remain above 100 meters in altitude. Now this can be very tricky, even for the best players, to hold a heading and an altitude, but when you play long enough, you will start to get the hang of it, and you really just oscillate between tilting up and tilting down. I'm not touching the power at all. Now we're reaching an island, and I can tell because when I pull up the tab map, it's slowly coming up, but I can't get distracted for too long because our altitude is once again getting away from 400. So I've armed our two cannons, and now we're going to begin the attack. Now luckily, this is a lava island, which illuminates its surroundings. So it's a little easier to avoid crashing into the ground. Now at night, it's much easier to clear enemies from islands because they have their headlights on. So in most of these cases, I will not even send an albatross to scan all of the targets, because it saves time when you don't have to launch and recover more aircraft. Instead of launching 2 aircraft, you can simply launch 1 Razorbill and clear the entire island. I'm firing in short controlled bursts, focusing on groups. And being disciplined about my altitude. If I get lower to the ground, the enemies will have a higher chance of hitting me. Right there, I just got hit with a 15mm shot. I know because it only took off a small portion of my health. If it were a 30mm shot, it would have almost killed me and taken me down to a much lower level of health. So now we're at 700 meters, which is a relatively high altitude for strafing targets on an island. And we don't want to be too far away, because the further away we are, the less accurate our gunfire will be. And I'm always balancing my power with my tilt, and never overcommitting to a single target. So, now we're going to do one more low flyby of the island. We're looking for enemy vehicles that are still alive and firing at us. And so far, we see no more headlights. We don't hear any shots. We don't see any tracers going across our screen. We're also looking out into the water surrounding the island, because vehicles can go into the ocean around the beach. And we see nothing, so we're good to head back to the carrier. Now, if we remember our initial heading, to get from the carrier to the island, we had to fly north on a strict heading of 360. Or 000. So, to return to the carrier, we'll simply fly in the opposite direction, or on a heading of 180. So once again, we're going full power. We're on a heading of 180, and we're adjusting our pitch, or how far we're tilting forward or back, to make sure that we don't go below wave top height. We're going to try to stick to 400 meters. We're watching our compass, watching our altitude, and before you know it, we pull up the tap map, we see our carrier, and now we can fly straight to our carrier. Now, usually flying at full throttle, you will not be able to look where you're going. So if you do need to look where you're going, simply pull down on the throttle, and then you can tilt the nose out. And you see the motion indicators below the horizon that shows that we are descending. And we're just going to gently work the throttle so we're not coming in too fast. And here we are, back home. We exit the vehicle with the escape key, set it to land by clicking and dragging to the carrier from the Razorbill. We see it's in the landing pattern. Soon it shows up on the map. There it is, and now it's red. It's set for landing. Still with 35% fuel remaining. And we weren't even parked at the island that we attacked. In fact, if you look at the map, you'll see that island was 10 kilometers away from the carrier. So don't underestimate how much fuel the Razorbill has. It can be very useful to conduct operations far away from your aircraft carrier, and doing this by using all of the fuel available in your fuel tank. And that's one successful night mission complete.